They tell me that I can't afford it, that we just don't have the money. If I want it to rain,
right.
They can't make it rain because they can't afford the money. And so it becomes more and more limited. And I could have a little extra money if I made the same film in London or the same film. I couldn't make the same film in France or Barcelona because the language makes it tricky. But I love making films in New York. It's a great
city. Do you think that's unjust, Mr. Allen?
Great.
Do you think that's unjust in the sense that you have this body of work, you've made money for the film industry, you see that some movies cost like $200 million to make, and do you think it's just crazy that you can't even get, say, 20 or 30, and you have to work for 15, and you can't do the project like the Sidney Bechet?
I think it's crazy that I should be able to get a little more than I get. Beyond that, the people would go broke. Is the problem. If they gave me $20 million instead of 15, they'd probably wind up losing money. So I understand their position. I realize that I don't make enough money in my films to support a budget of $20 million. But a couple more $1 million I wish they could give me. I'm making a film out in California Astoria Studios, and I'm working for $15 million out there, and the film next to me, The Taking of Pelham, is $100 million plus, and I would like $2 million more. I completely understand why they don't give me $5 million more.
Okay.
25 million more, 15 million more, it would be suicide for them. And then they would have no chance of recouping their money. But, another 2 million, they probably would break even or recoup their money. But it's hard. It's easy from where I sit to ask for it, but where they sit, if you're putting up with $15 million, it's a lot of money, and they're nervous to lose it. They don't want to even lose 1 million of it or 2 million of it. It's a lot of money.
But your films not have a life on DVD too? That's a long way.
Yes, with all that, with the DVD sales and the auxiliary markets and all that, they break even and make a little profit. Look, I've been bankrolled for 35 years, so the films are making something, but they're not. It's always a neck-and-neck race with red ink. I'm always one step ahead of, or behind the break-even.
Wolves are at the door.
But you could still find New York a rich source of ideas. And, you were writing love letters to New York when no one else was doing that. You were making movies in New York when nobody wanted to have anything to do with New York, sort of as a culture. And now New York is very different.
It's different, but it's still a great city. As I see the other cities in the world, I love Paris and I love Barcelona, but New York is still an amazing city. And even the people that live in Paris and live in Barcelona get knocked out by New York. They go to New York and they're knocked out by it. It still has all the energy and the pace, and it's like a European city, full of culture and full of jazz and full of theater and opera and art, and still you can walk down the street in New York and you walk one block and you're rubbing elbows with an artist and someone from the UN and someone from the publishing business. It's still an astonishing place. It's great.
I have kind of an off question for you. My grandparents, both my grandmothers, are sort of from that, I think you quoted in the film, from that long line of Jewish atheists. And I'm wondering if your feelings on religion have changed as you've gotten older in any way, or are you still kind of in the same,
No, you'll probably see that in my next film, one Larry David's doing. I'm still a militant kind of Freudian atheist. My view of things, is still very pessimistic and terrifying and grim and meaningless and chaotic.
In other words, realistic.
I think realistic, but not everybody agrees with that. But you'll see it in my next film. clearly stated, explicitly stated.
I'll be glad to hear that.
So you can imagine the box office.
Through the roof. See the red-tailed hawks anymore. Can't see the red-tailed hawks of Central Park anymore.
No, I can't. For years, the hawks were on my terrace. They had their children on my terrace and their children's children, and we fed them from my terrace. I used to just sit. I would be at the typewriter typing, and the hawk would be right up my window looking at me, and I'd be looking back at the hawk, and I tried to feed the hawk, but you can't do that. They have to go catch their own.